Yo, I've had some fun this morning with this lovely line of comments in the Guardian article. It's the heading of the article was something like, it's something to do with cannabis and fatty foods, or make you fat food, so it could be sugary, whatever the thing is now. And it's been lovely. They've been going from one thing to another. But the main thing that's got me in it has been what on one side is called fat shaming, and on the other, because there's cannabis here, it's kind of comparing the two. And somebody said that my son, who was a top university and got an MA or BA or something, but did smoke, lightly smoke cannabis, went all psychotic and is obviously in the loony bin. Or whatever the political equivalent of a loony bin is nowadays. And a couple of people said, well, sorry about that. And then somebody just came on and said, look, I'm sorry that your son has gone in the loony bin, but it didn't have anything to do with marijuana. And let's not argue whether it had or hadn't, that's silly. But it was kind of, we're getting down the comment thumbs up, because I do them as recommended, so as you get down it gets into single figures, and it was in single figures, and a huge quantity. It was a real spike up that said, how dare you say that to the man with the son that was a loony. And what he said was, it was just a quick line that said, sorry about your son, but it had nothing to do with marijuana. He might have even said it probably had nothing to do with marijuana, which it probably didn't. I mean, if you add up the people will go loony, and people will smoke marijuana, and people will go to university. But getting your causation and your correlation correct is, no, let's say, notoriously difficult. Anyway, so my big thinking that I'm getting back from this is, offering people advice. All right, the bit I quoted wasn't really advice, but there was another one higher up. That offering people advice, it seems, is a very bad thing to do. I don't know if it's a bad thing to do nowadays, because I don't really do civilization much, but I think it is, I'll just say nowadays. It looks like offering people advice is not the done thing. Now, to my way of thinking, this is absolute madness. If I wanted to be in a conversation with any of my neighbours or anybody, what I would want them to be doing is giving me advice, because that's useful. Information comes in and the brain will sift it, dissect it, and profit from it, whatever that might mean. But surely that's what people should want in life, isn't it? It seems that it's not wanted, and what could be called constructive criticism, how about that? Or just advice. People don't want it, seemingly. Anyway, down at the bottom here, I thought, oh, bugger it, I'll read these because this is really quite funny. Now, the almost fascinating thing about this is it looks like it goes female and then male. I would have naturally thought that it would be the other way around, but it isn't. Okay, I'll just read. This is obviously on the fat side. The clothing industry has responded by providing bigger clothes and relabeling them as about 2 sizes smaller. I think we know that they've done that, but it's not. Whatever. Archive photos of what normal people looked like 50 years ago is a real eye-opener to what we have normalised now. Good God. I've only just realised 50 years ago was the 60s, wasn't it? So 1968 was 50 years ago. Blimey. 68. Mamas and the papas. Okay. The idea of Fat shaming is another trick of the food industry, making it impossible to actually tell someone when they are becoming unhealthily overweight. Portion sizes are getting way out of control. Left to his own devices, my dog would eat any and all food he managed to get his chops around. We are no different. This is all crammed into one paragraph. There is so much food available wherever you turn, and in such large portions, it is a constant battle to eat sensibly. Still all the same paragraph. No wonder millennials have difficulty. They have been born into a world where this is the case and have no memory of any other. Now, to my mind, there was a lot of stuff at the top, but that's a very reasonable finish, the last sentence. No wonder millennials, the young people, have difficulty. They have been born into a world where this is the case and have no memory of any other way. In other words, for the young people, what he talked about is food everywhere and large portions, and everyone around them eats this stuff, is the normal way of life. So it would be remarkable if they went against what is the normal modern way of life. Okay, so Sebastian comes back directly to this comment and says, starting the comment with "so." Alarm bells go off. Bring the guns round. Starting with "so." You know, start with "so," and you're gonna go for it. Okay, so you think the solution to obesity is to restrict clothing choices for bigger people and to make it be socially acceptable to berate a bigger person in public for being bigger. Sounds great. Not only do you, I think me, what does it mean? Sounds great. Not only do I not have any other clothes to wear, any clothes to wear, not only do you not have any clothes to wear, if you go out you will be verbally abused by strangers who are obviously perfect and without vice and have carte blanche to abuse you simply because they are thin. This won't make people thinner, it will make people miserable. What a hateful thing to suggest. What did he suggest, actually? Actually, it was a she. The top one, this is a male. The she, what did she suggest? What a hateful thing to suggest. What did she suggest? Didn't suggest anything, did she? We're all still human regardless of body size, and we should treat each other as such. We're all still human regardless of body size. I mean, this is harping back to Shakespeare and the Merchant of Venice and the Jew, Shylock, and do I not bleed, whatever, ever. I mean, what a hateful thing to suggest. What was the thing? I could read the whole top thing again, but this seems to be, okay, I'll forget that. The important line here is, and link it to the last line of Francis, the top one. No wonder millennials have a difficulty. They have been born into a world where this is the case and have no memory of any other way. That's the large portion sizes, etc. And in this reply by Sebastian, this won't make people thinner, the abuse and the stuff. I totally agree. But it will make people miserable. And I can agree with this. But I think the two can be rolled in. The whole fat and miserable thing can be rolled in. I think it's bloody hard to be a millennial nowadays. And there seems to be pressure on eating. when I was young, I didn't have any pressure on eating at all. If there was a fat kid, you called him fat kid. All right, that's it's the way it was. But that was because 98% of all other kids were just normal kids. You just ate. You did your running around and being a kid, or you did your homework or didn't do your homework. There was no being something about being rake thin or being fat. It was not a thing, but it's just another thing now that millenniums have to be the wrong side of, and it will be making them miserable. I feel sorry for the young ones because I think they've got so many things nowadays that can make them miserable. And I'm not surprised that they turn to food as a comfort thing, because left to his own devices, my dog would eat all the food he managed to get his chops around, and we're no different. We aren't much different. We are no different. We're animals, and it's quite liable that an upset human being will resort to comfort food eating. Hard work. I could say something else, but I've taken up my time, which is your time.